Welcome back to another episode of Pick Truth. I'm your host, Dr. Vicki Harris. I'm here with my co-host,
Lamont Hearn Jr.
and we're here to bring the heat. I hope everyone had a great week. I'm glad to be back in my right mind yet another day. Lamont, how has your week been?
It's been pretty good. Just going through, the final days before school starts with the kids, getting them all prepared. Of course, that's trying to get them back into that regimen of going to bed earlier, going through uniforms and making sure we keep the ones that do fit, putting the ones for sale that don't. It's a hassle, but it's a necessary hassle, and just keeping it going. How about yourself?
My weeks have been filled with work as a primary focus of my insanity. The kids, not so much. So, like me and my husband, we split the duties. He does the clothes, I do the supplies. And so I think one weekend, I don't know what I was doing. He went to go get shoes while I was doing something. The boys all went out to go get shoes. And then they have uniforms that are left over. So they went through all those last weekend. And I did all the school supply shopping. So we're just waiting for the label so we can custom label it. I'm the mom that gets all the stuff, even the optional items. Although I feel like school supply shopping is like an adult scavenger hunt. They want these precise. I want a blue plastic pocket folder, a red one, and a yellow one. And it's like they don't have red. The only red ones are the $5.38 for a folder, and I refuse. And I get my school supplies from Walmart. So like, I apologize if I'm continue to the capitalism system and all the other good fun stuff. But here's what I think Walmart needs to do. So take my advice, okay? Stop intermingling non-Walmart stuff with name brand stuff. Because I'm not getting the name brand anything. I don't want Trapper Keeper. I don't need Crayola. Get me the fine art that's at 15 cents for 24 crayons. I don't want nothing name brand. Up, down. That is what I want. I don't want any, get them away. And quit, grab a photo. Like, no, that's 5-star. I don't want that. I'm not spending $5.50 on a folder. I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. Or the composition notebooks. Why on earth is Mead and 5-star so expensive? Just put them on a different aisle. Stop making me hunt and peck.
So, what's funny? I kind of remember knowing a former manager at one of the local Walmarts, and he kind of told me it all has to do with how those companies market. So it's kind of like it's almost like a parasitic relationship. So that higher end company wants their stuff on a certain shelf. They want it displayed at a certain height and everything else. So what Walmart does is, or any company, as a matter of fact, that sells their store brand, is they put their stuff next to it for comparison. That works in both favors, because it's like, all right, you're going to visually see Mead and 5-star, but the Walmart stuff's there. But what tends to happen is, as you said, it's almost like a rummage sale. You get people who are grabbing one thing. I've noticed, like, between the college ruled paper and the wide ruled paper, we'll find something in red in the college, which, if you don't have kids that are not high school age, I think maybe middle school as well, they're not using that. So that since they're using wide ruled paper, you're like, I can't find it. You're rummaging through 45 different red ones and you don't find any. So it's like a parasitic relationship with them. It's kind of weird.
All that makes sense. And I know you're right, which makes it even me madder. Like, dang it, because there's no solution to this. I'm not going to go in one day and all the dollar stuff is on one aisle, because that would make this easy. And then I also need the schools to do me a favor. Stop being so damn specific. Like, why does it have to be a pocket folder? Why does it be a plastic pocket folder that's red? Like, why can't it be just any and it has to be a pronged pocket folder? Like, like, listen, oh, yeah. I'm just saying, and I really don't like doing it, but it's my responsibility. And somehow everyone thinks I love it. Like, my husband just realized that he learned it gives me anxiety. Like, I don't know what, like, fresh office supplies give me anxiety. Weird. They make my teeth itch. Everyone's weird. Everybody has a thing. Like, some people don't like nails on a chalkboard. Me, I love a brand new journal, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't know.
So you like your school supplies sullied, I guess, is what you're saying? A little sullied, a little tainted? Is that what we're getting?
No, it's some weird thing. Probably got beat one day over like some 5-star trapper keeper or something, and now I got some type of hidden angst in my soul, and now like every time it's subconscious, and one day I'm gonna be writing a note, and it's gonna come out like stationary, and
Mm,
it's gonna be a thing. Sad. I ain't no.
so,
It's weird.
a
I
little
have a lot
bit,
of
a little bit.
peculiarities. I have a lot of peculiarities, and I'm okay with that. I, I
That's fair.
and the older I get, like the less I care. Like
Mm,
seriously, the less I care, because really it sounds so rude, and I don't mean it to sound so pessimistic or anything. I really don't. But I almost never make any of my decisions about anybody else outside of my household. Like I consider my husband's feelings, my kids' feelings, and that's about it. Everyone else, yeah, you come wherever you come. And like
mm,
you're that probably sounded, but it doesn't, and I don't mean it in a mean way. It's just that like I don't care what you think.
yeah,
You're not going to bring anything. You're not bringing anything to my household. You're not supporting us with your children. You're not. I am not responsible for your well being. Like I don't got capacity. I am now responsible for 4 people. Not now, but you know what I mean. And it's like
yeah,
I
yeah. I
just
know what
don't.
you mean.
I can't cater to everyone's emotional needs when literally I have 4, and I'm counting myself, 4 other human beings or 4
Yeah,
human beings that I need to cater to. And so it doesn't mean I don't have a relationship. It doesn't mean I just am out there in the streets wilding, but it
right, right.
really means that if you can't understand where I'm at, we shouldn't be friends. Like people who expect their friends and family to return text immediately will never be my friend, because you may
No,
not be able to accept that I don't return texts for years. Like that's not hyperbole. There is probably somebody in
it's
my message
factual.
that I ain't talked to in years because didn't see the text and they're waiting for me to text back. 2,000 texts later, but you have to pick your friends. You have to pick your space. I'm not for everyone. Don't call me. I'm cool with that. Text me. Yeah, you silly. You silly. I'm not going to jump. Sometimes if I'm holding my phone, and like I am not like most people, I don't have my phone with me 100% of the time. And I wish I did. I actually will have headphones on more than I will have my phone.
Mm.
My phone could be sitting somewhere and I'm in a listening to a podcast, going around the house doing whatever I do. So anyway, that's just way off tangent. I appreciate thank you for allowing me to just go. It's been a week, okay? Work has worked.
Mm.
Work has
Work is
worked.
work.
It has
Hashtag work
worked.
is work.
It worked me.
Mm.
It is teaching me to be patient. But
Mm.
we're not here to talk about us. We're here to hear these lovely confessions. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in.
All right.
My first confession is titled Revenge on Fellow Teacher. I am a teacher, and about 12 years ago, I had a shared room with another teacher who I despised. We met 20 years ago, and at first, I thought we were friends. Ooh, friends. Fast forward a year later, I get a transfer to another building, and he became very jealous because he was still traveling between 2 buildings. He wanted the transfer that I received. Fast forward 2 years later, we are both at the same building. He started talking shit behind my back. He accused me of doing stuff I never did. I always took the high road and ignored him. So that's your problem. I'm just gonna cut in right here and say, when you're at work and somebody is doing some devious stuff, the high road is making it plain and calling it out and then documenting it. But yeah, you don't take the high road and ignore it. You take the high road and you document it and you protect yourself. But anyway, I digress. Most of our fellow teachers knew he was full of shit because he was a bully, and they didn't stop him. My students would go to him the following year and they would come back and cry because he was mean and didn't care. I always spoke highly of him to the students. As much as I hated him, I wouldn't talk bad to the kids about him. I'm not professional. Parents would ask me not to place their children in his class because of his bad reputation. About 12 years ago, we were forced to share a classroom. He was an absolute slob. The classroom was a mess. He would not leave the room when the bell rang to start my class because he knew it pissed me off. 3 years into being roommates, like, yo, we really need to fix the school crisis. Like, y'all still roommates in 3 years? Good Lord. He one day left his glasses on the student's desk. He did this often, and I would always put them on his desk. This time, I decided that I would walk into the hallway and throw them away in the garbage pail in the hallway. I figured it would be my subtle way of getting revenge. Like, you might have gone to a bridge too far. The next day, he asked me if I saw them, and I played dumb. I heard him say one day that it cost him over $200 to replace them. 2 years later, he left to become an administrator in our local high school. Like, for real? Like, make that make sense. Make it make sense that constantly you have students and parents complaining, but you promote this motherfucker to an administrator. Like,
Like he
that
failed his
sounds
way
like
up.
that sounds like corporate America. Sorry. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Yeah, checks
He,
out.
he he always said he was nervous about leaving teachers because he didn't want to give up his tenure. He did it. And 3 years later, he was denied tenure because the same parents of the student who once he begged me not to have took over the school board and got him out. Karma is a B. I
Hmm.
mean, what do you think?
I mean, I'll be honest. Bro seems like the villain who kept failing upward or kept being devious, moving upward. I'm trying to figure out how to word that. As far as the confession itself, for anyone who's ever had to go to an optometrist and pay for glasses, this could definitely irritate them. I could make a joke about this being a jalapeno because we're giving you a side eye because somebody couldn't see without their glasses. There's a lot of different ways that this could be taken. I'm gonna say though, I mean, it's a poblano to me. This could definitely irritate others. I don't play with people's glasses as part of the glasses wearing community. I feel like we are a slighted group. No, I'm just kidding. But
GC, glasses community. Sorry. Sorry.
nah, it works. But nah, in all seriousness, it could definitely irritate others just because you're messing with someone's impairment and something that could affect them being able to visually see, even though he is, from all accounts, from what we're hearing from this person's point of view and their side, he's not a nice person. That doesn't necessarily indicate that those type of things should happen. It's more interesting that he somehow was so disliked, but somehow continued to move up. It appears that he made the right connections with the right people to continue his mobility, which does sound like corporate America. It speaks more to the school systems, which is a whole nother can of worms that I don't know if we have enough time to do in this show. We only last sometimes about an hour at the most, so we don't have enough time to really go over it. But yeah, for me, this could definitely irritate others.
I think it's interesting. Part of it, I want to say something probably unpopular. It's a bit of cowardice, in my opinion.
Mm.
So when you wouldn't address the issues head on, you wouldn't like, hey, let's nip this in the bud. Let's discontinue this behavior. Let's get this addressed. But instead, you intentionally like you could have just left it on the desk, left it on the student's desk. Like, you're like, I'm not going to help you. I thought he was going to say, I just let it stay on the student's desk and didn't do anything. That would have been a bell pepper to me. Like, you use a jerk. I'm not going to go out of my way to help you. But to
Right.
take his property and throw it in the garbage and you all share a room, you know what I'm saying? Like that like, so that's where it's like, I might be giving you the side eye because it's kind of like you just went over the top unnecessarily, in my opinion. Like, now you're destroying property. Like, if you're not going to be confident enough to identify and address the issues head on, it's cowardice to just take their property and throw it away. If he left it on the desk, so be it. If a student took it, so be it. But like, you intentionally, and it's not the money. Money's important. $200 glass is important. It's not the money for me. It's the cowardice. And like,
Mm.
you didn't even say it was me. You like it now. It would have been a whole different confession if he would have been like, "Have you seen my glasses?" Yeah, bitch. Like I threw them away. Check the trash outside. You better hope the janitor ain't been through. Like if he had went hard, like maybe. But really, he was just, ha ha. You just, it's
Right.
man
It's
up, man
real
up or
sniggling and
shut up.
giggling. Facts. Facts. I feel you.
So that's me, and maybe that's unpopular. And let me be clear for everyone listening to this episode: like, I have no patience at the moment. Like, literally, my patience have. We record on Tuesdays. Work week started on Monday. My whole patience for the week is gone because I can't deal with stupidity, and it's driving me out of my mind. Okay. But yeah, ultimately I would call it a jalapeno because I think it was just cowardice. And if you want to go hard with it, don't do it. Don't, if you
Right,
can't
right,
brag
right.
about it in their face, don't do it. I just call them out. Like, heard about your mama. How about that? I don't know. I don't know what you can say. Your lesson plan sucks. Like, I don't know. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Your pass fail rate is terrible.
Mm.
A
Mm.
lot of options.
Let's see. Your curriculum. Nah, because that's a school wide thing. So I guess you can't really shoot at their curriculum.
You snuck. That's like, okay, if you shared a desk with a coworker and you
Mm-hmm.
saw that they left their glasses on a file cabinet
Mm-hmm.
and you threw those mugs in the garbage, like, that's terrible. Like, it's not even like he was in a space where he wasn't supposed to be. Like, he's in technically his classroom too.
Yeah.
And instead of being, maybe the shit he was talking about you was true. You know what I'm saying? Like, you the type of dirty motherfucker that will take somebody's glasses and throw them away. I can't listen. Someone would have to take me home. I can't see. I cannot see without my glasses. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can see the hand in front of my face, but if I try to drive, I'd kill somebody and myself because I can't see. So yeah, maybe I'm a little bit more bitter about this than maybe. I don't know. So that's a jalapeno. What
I
truth do
respect
you
it.
have for what truth do you have for us, Lamont?
All right. My first truth is titled Petty Revenge Pokemon Story. Might not be nearly as serious as most confessions here, but it eats at me from time to time when my mind likes to remember the cringy things I've done in the past. I think I was about 7 or 8. I remember among schoolmates, I was the only one without a Pokemon game for the longest. My mom had to raise 5 kids on her own, and we didn't have a lot of money. I used to just ask my friends, can I play their games at school? On my birthday, I got a blue Game Boy Color and Pokemon Yellow Pikachu version. I was extremely happy and couldn't wait to bring it to school, which my mom would never allow, to show off how special my version was. Everyone had blue or red versions, so I thought I was cool because Pikachu talked and walked behind me in the game. But I learned quickly that my version wasn't nearly as special as I thought. To those that have played Gen 1 Pokemon, there was a glitch that allowed you to duplicate items, Pokemon, and etc. And all my friends were doing it. My friend taught me the trick, and I was excited to try it on my version. Needless to say, on the yellow version, the Cinnabar Surf glitch was patched, and I was unable to do it at all. This led to jealousy, as everyone who was in this little group I hung with had max level Pokemon and everything else. We would battle, and I would lose to pretty much everyone, and I was really upset. There was a ringleader of the group. Let's call him Brian. I think he was the strongest out of everybody. And I remember how I was annoyed at how much Brian bragged about being the strongest trainer in our school and how much of a weak trainer I was. I didn't really hate him or anything, but because what he said was true, and there was no way I could beat him. Overall, I was kind of used to being made fun of because of not having the game for so long. During lunch, everyone was at a table near the kickball field. Everyone was trading Pokemon, battling, and discussing the game. Brian asked everyone if anyone was down for kickball, and we all got excited. He said I wasn't allowed to join because he said strong trainers only or something along those lines. I think this is where I kind of snapped. Like most kids, he left his Game Boy in his backpack. I was sitting at the table alone. I remember digging in directly into his bag and taking the Game Boy out. And I know what you're thinking. I did not steal it. What I did was much worse, in my opinion. I recalled there was something that happened to a friend of mine. He was dared to turn off the game during the game saving. He did it and his save got destroyed. I only ever hear the word destroy in DBZ, also known as Dragon Ball Z. But seeing it in Pokemon sounded scary. He had no access to his file no matter how many times he blew into the cartridge and powered on and off. He was a mess. I decided to see if it would work on Brian's save file. It was nerve wracking because I kept watching out to see if anyone was looking or coming my way. It was stressful as shit because it felt like the game was taking ages to boot up and start. The first time I tried it, I powered off too fast and nothing happened. Cut it off, turned it back on. I try again, but this time I wait a little longer and I turn it off. Cut it back on, and sure enough, I got the file data is destroyed. The message scared me so much that I nearly dropped his Game Boy. I turned it off immediately and put it back in his bag. And I left. I did not return to the spot until the next day. It's nutrition time, and the group is all at the table again. Brian is completely distraught, nearly in tears, talking about his file data that got destroyed. We all kept asking him, what happened? What did you do? And of course, he did nothing but cry. It seems like a lot of kids were unaware of this outcome if you did indeed turn the game off while saving. I guess the capital letters saving, do not turn off your game, was enough to prevent us from doing so. Long story short, poor Brian lost everything. He was no longer the strongest trainer. The last bit of words I remember was telling him, that sucks, man. Does this mean I'm not the weakest trainer anymore? It was incredibly petty, and I regret it because he stopped showing up to the group. So, Brian, if you do happen to see this post, and I always wonder what happened to your save file, it wasn't a glitch in the game. It wasn't because you probably dropped the game, and it wasn't because you caught missing no or anything like that. I did it. It was out of complete pettiness. I was a kid. I was jealous and frustrated that I was being singled out of everything. So I'm saying 24 years later, I apologize. Despite how mean you were to me sometimes, I still think you were a good person. I hope you are healthy and surrounded by people who love and care about you. Thanks for listening to my long childish confession, LOL. It's been on my mind for so long and I'm ready to receive judgment.
Okay, so this goes in. I'm going to rate it normally and then take it down a notch because it's a kid. So what I wish people could garner and understand about video games is that while some people see them as childish or unimportant, to others, they're significantly important. And it's a testament to their accomplishment on what they were able to do within that game. And sometimes it's logic, sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's competition, but it's this thing that you build up. So intentionally destroying someone's game can have a devastating effect on them because they've poured so much time into it. So I'm imagining that little kid was distraught. If at an adult level, I'm judging you, but there are occasions that, so for this particular truth, I would probably get a Thai chili. I think I'm judging you. That's what I would normally give it. And because of a kid, I give you a jalapeno, a spicy truth. Just take it down a notch because you're a kid. Because you knew what you did was wrong. And it was not okay for a kid to tease you and bully, mess with you. But that's what it is. But I could see this really pissing someone off and really taking them to a space where they could get violent. And I think that people really underestimate the time and sacrifice people put in, and they look at it as something wrong. But if I was building like a toy boat or some bullshit, that's perfectly acceptable. And not recognizing, hey, if I put boats in glass jars and I built it and all of a sudden somebody came in and just smashed every single one of them to bits, like I would be devastated. That represents a lot of my time and effort in my hobby. And so, yeah. Now, I will say this as a caveat. If this was an adult that made their living playing a video game, it's a reaper. Like, it's a reaper. I wouldn't ever tell on my deathbed, because that's like a beyond a trust. Like, you might be able to get over somebody's infidelity, but if you take my livelihood because of a joke or a prank, or you're mad, or like, I don't know what they would do to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what they would do to me, so I wouldn't do it. But what do you think? How would you rate this?
So man, this hit me right in my feels. I'm not gonna lie. I'm from that time frame when Pokemon came out, so I can remember getting getting the red or blue version that mattered because there are Pokemon that were in one game versus the other. When the yellow game came out, it was only on Game Boy Color. You could not play it on the original Game Boy. So this person who's telling the story got a Game Boy Color. I know that it's a teal, more teal than blue. I can go into like heavy details with this. So I'm going to show a lot of my detail here. But to delete someone's save in those games is terrible. It's the same thing you said about if you had any other hobby or any other creative thing. We create a show. We create a show that comes out that people get to listen to. And if someone just went into our file system and just deleted it before it came out, that is what we've put in time and our love and dedication and work into, and somebody just completely deletes it. I'd be furious. I'm not going to pretend. We spend hours. There's not just me and you. There's other people who are spending their time and putting this effort in. And just for someone to delete that is messed up, period. Like, that's just not okay. Now, again, like you said, with this being a kid, I do have to put that in that type of context and understand that when children are made fun of, even with adults, even, but specifically with children whose brains are not fully developed, they tend to act out and then still may not be aware of what the consequences are or even what their own rationale was. So with that being the case, I'd say it's a jalapeno. As a child, as a Pokemon fan for since the 90s, 96, 97 when it came out. Yeah, I take this to my deathbed. I wouldn't tell, just because the crazy part is, so to this day right now, if you were to, and I'm going to show my nerdiness even further, if you have Pokemon from the original game, there were ways up until earlier this year to transport them from that game to the most recent games that are on Switch. And there's an emblem that it shows you that you got them from the original games. So there's a way for something that connected you to being a child, like me being 7 years old, that would show to today. So my kids who are into Pokemon, I could be like, look, this is when Daddy first played. So there's a lot of things there that go in my mind with this on how messed up that is. So it's like if you were passing down, like you said, the boat, and you were passing down this and you go, your grandfather sailed on the Mayflower to get here, and we passed this down from family to family, and this is a thing. It's very similar to that. And for me, that's just heavy. So
I want to say something, but my
not
ancestors were
school.
on a different boat. I don't.
Right. That's why I tried to slide.
They weren't. First class. They weren't staying. They was on a different boat. They was on a
Yeah.
different boat.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
can I?
Yeah.
I'm about to jump into my next confession, but can I say something foolish? Of
What's
course.
up?
So I was at work and I was at somebody's team meeting and they have a icebreaker. I do them too.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna come up with something clever so that like I can coin it. But the icebreaker was, would you rather go to the future or to the past to talk to one of your ancestors? And I'm like, I feel like that's such a socially unacceptable icebreaker question. So I had I was like, listen, I'm brown. I'm going forward. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't want to watch that and see that and hear that, and I'm gonna go forward and talk to my descendants as opposed to my ancestors. And I don't mean it because like I don't want to talk to my ancestors. They live in me. I'm making them proud. Ugh. And like there's that, but I was like, it's not a time where shit worked out well for me. You know what I'm saying? If you look like me and had dreadlocks like me, yeesh. Although my arms look like I make good food, so I might have like I might be in the kitchen. My arms
Yo,
look like granny arms. They do look like she can cook. She's staring at she can cook. Okay, sorry, something's really really wrong with me.
hold on. Before you go any further about you saying that, I have to mention it because you mentioned that. Somebody asked, they were like, it's 1850 and you've got like $200. They're like, what do you buy? And this was a black person who sent this tweet out, right? And it's funny. The white guy responds and he goes, you. I was like, dang, you know what? like you said, that's a weird question to ask as an icebreaker. I wouldn't ask that as a tweet either. I wouldn't be like, "Hey, you got some money, 1850. What are you buying?" Like, I'm not subjecting myself to that.
Myself, I don't. My freedom
My
is
freedom, right?
like,
My wife, my kids, like,
yeah, that took a terrible,
yeah,
terrible dark turn.
yeah.
But let's go ahead and sorry for being so loud in the mic. Let's go ahead into my next confession. Okay, this one is titled "My husband went on a trip with a group of guys, and many of them cheated on their wives." Like the title says, my husband went on a trip with a group of guys. Many of these are friends of mutual friends on the trip. He knew three of the guys beforehand and met the rest on the trip. They went to a place known for sex tourism. Had my husband not FaceTime me while some of this stuff was happening, I don't think I'd believe that he was innocent and didn't participate. Most of the men are married with kids, and one has a long-term girlfriend. Of the group of men, my husband and one other guy were the only ones who didn't take up with hookers from their tour and security guy. The term is used loosely as he was always the guy offering them party favors and women. My husband told me on the condition that he does not want something to come out later and be implicated by association. He felt that I didn't know what was happening. He felt that if I should know what was happening on the trip and if he can't risk our relationship. Good job. He also said I cannot inform any of the wives and they would know it was him who broke the bro code. They all seemed so comfortable cheating on their spouses. He said it didn't seem like it was their first time. Someone we knew very closely and wouldn't imagine doing something like this also participated. He ended up cutting the trip short as well. He didn't want to continue hanging out with some of these people. I am so conflicted and hurt by these people. I will be seeing these wives and girlfriends at events and some of them frequently. How can I not tell them? Like, don't tell him them. Like, he trusted you. It ain't your business to tell. Anyway, I feel as a woman, I would want to be informed. However, my husband said it is not our business as to what their marriages are like. He told me that there is no way their wives didn't have an inkling. Before he went to this destination, he looked it up, and I mentioned it to my husband that because of this, what people go there to do, I'm slightly uncomfortable. And his assurance was that he would openly communicate with me and let me know everything that happened, which he did. I didn't think he expected would happen on this trip either. I just don't know how to respect these people and continue being friends with them as well as not spilling the beans. If I'm cold to them or don't interact with them, they will know something is up, and I'm usually bubbly and outgoing. The only innocent people are my husband's friends, who is single, and his one other friend who abstained and hung out with my husband. However, it is upsetting that all of these men condoned and basically enabled each other's behavior, my husband included. How do I move forward? I really just don't know. It's making me question if my morals align with my husband, but I also know he is in a very tough spot.
Sorry, that's a lot. With couples, you tend to try to you have a tendency to confide in each other with certain information that you do ask each other to hold um, between the two of you if you have communicated it. That's my understanding. I know with my wife we have had certain discussions, just in general, just about different things, of course. And I would ask if I ever felt like it was something I didn't want to be told. If I asked her to keep it in confidence. Just like I would with friends. If I tell you something in confidence, I do ask that you hold on to that for a reason. But I do understand that she's also put in this awkward position of saying, well, now I'm going to be around these people. And I have to almost, in a sense, smile in their face, knowingly aware that something happened that they may not be happy with. But the other issue is, like you stated, you don't tell them, not just for the sake that your husband told you in confidence. It may not be the thing you think it is, and not whether they cheated or not, but you may go to these women, say this, and it become a problem for you more so than just the act of what happened, because all that you never know what can of worms you're opening by saying it that way. That wife may feel like you're lying. She may attack you verbally. Then it becomes a whole other problem that now, instead of even addressing the thing you thought you were addressing, now you're dealing with people having issues with you that was never your real intention. I can say, as far as the husband, I've been put in situations before where I've seen things that I was not a fan of, that I did not approve of, that I was not okay with, and you feel like you can confide in your partner in these situations because you're very uncomfortable. I feel like that also put him in a tough space. So that's what I say. It's so multi-layered here. It's almost best for everyone just to keep their mouth shut, but at the same time, like she said, you're looking at these people and you're around them. So how do you keep a straight face? And I know for everyone, that's not, the easiest thing to do. So I'm still ruminating on what I would give it as far as our ratings. So I'm kind of still thinking that through. But what are your thoughts?
Let's enter the unpopular opinion segment of Pick Truth. First, I would again reiterate that it's not your business to tell. Your significant other, your husband told you. That means he wanted to make sure that you all had an open line of communication, that you could trust him. He did everything he could to remove himself from, what was going on. And that's your whole business. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's just my opinion. So it is, if you have a reaper, you keep your mouth closed, you take it to your deathbed. It's none of your business. Now, let's add to you're so upset with these people. They ain't cheat on you. And you don't know if they cheated. You don't know what anybody allows in their relationship.
Right.
You have no clue. You're assuming and you have these expectations, but you don't know the sex lives of the people around you. I get frustrated with people who have this dogmatic belief that if you cheat, you'll cheat everything you do. As I get older, I recognize that everybody's situation is different. What they allow and what they tolerate is different. Your husband did what you wanted him to do. Mind your business. And you are right. You don't know what's going to happen. If you decide to tell so-and-so was cheating, well, yours was too. How you know it's just this big giant, and I don't trust you. I don't believe you. And then you put your husband in a position where, what now? You betrayed my trust, But I have a friend that hey, probably help her hide a body. Let's figure this out. Leave your cell phones at home. We're gonna have to use Morse code. Let's figure this out. Right? We need to go get an old car, no GPS. Let's do what we need to do. We'll hide the body. And I say that figuratively because I really wouldn't hide a body just in case, this ever needs to go up in court. I would never actually do that. But what I'm saying is that if she had something that was confidential and something that may not be morally aligned with my behavior, who the fuck am I to judge? How do I know that everything that I do is morally aligned with her behavior or what she thinks acceptable? And she accepts me. I feel like we learn other people's shortcomings and then we make it a reason for us to belie them. And I think I said that right. It's none of your business. Now, if they were diddling children, ain't no secret there. You tell the world, you know what I'm saying? If they're harming an elderly person, they physically, mentally, emotionally abusing someone. I know somebody might be able to argue this is emotional abuse to the wife. She don't know. So it ain't emotional abuse. If you're harming somebody in that space, and maybe your morals say, hey, you are harming someone, that you're having sex with someone who has sex for a living. Again, if you just make it legal, it wouldn't be so taboo. But again, another unpopular opinion. It's none of your business. Why are you caring what somebody else does? It annoys me. That shit annoys me to death, where we decide that one sin is so great, but your husband ain't helped you with your kids your entire marriage. You know what I'm saying? That's or he talks bad about your mama. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
are willing to accept certain behaviors and not others, and then you want to put your opinions on other people's lives. You don't live their life. You don't know what their experiences are. You don't know what their tolerances are, and you don't know their situation. So it ain't none of your business. Maybe it wasn't the first time. Maybe it was. It ain't none of your business. Your husband told you. Why are you judging your husband for not telling somebody else's business? It's not our business. Now,
Right.
again, you start diddling kids, that becomes business. That's different. But
Yeah.
and then, like, if you know they are going to a place that is known for sexual tourism,
Right. Right. Right.
come on now. I'ma ask. I'ma ask.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So yeah, for me, in that it's a reaper, and that you cannot tell anyone. You really need to leave it up. And if you can't deal with, like, that's a maturity thing.
Yeah.
Like, if my husband said, "Don't tell nobody," he ain't got to say it twice.
Right. It's
He ain't
understood
got to
on
shout it loud. He can whisper, "Vicky, don't tell nobody." Tell him what? Your husband did everything that was right. Like, he can't control the behaviors of others. It is not his place to go and ruin other people's relationships. Respect him and respect yourself. Like, like, mind your own. Your husband did everything he was supposed to do in your particular situation, but not telling I ain't telling him. And why are you so mad? Why are you so mad about what he did? Like, I don't understand that either. Like, and maybe you cheated on my friend. I'm really upset you cheated on my friend. If it's cheating, you
Right.
don't know
Like,
who has an
yeah.
open relationship. People are so quick to assume. You just don't know. You don't know. You don't know. What if they do something nasty? What if they R. Kelly in it? Now I can't respect. I only R. Kelly my wife. Like, now I don't respect you because you R. Kelly your wife. But she like it.
Okay. Okay.
She calls it a
I paused.
thunderstorm.
You stupid. I had to pause for a second because you said R. Kelly, and I said, "Oh, okay, his wife though. Okay, it's different because R. Kelly." So when we
Yeah.
reference R. Kelly thing, do we not include it as a kid reference, or we just talking about the P portion?
Oh, you know what? I was really referencing the activity, but I wasn't.
Rather than the actual partner
Did the
or
pedophilia?
unwilling. Yeah.
No, they're willing. So that's we should really have a conversation about R. Kelly. They were willing participants, maybe not old enough to consent, but willing. I think R. Kelly is a very controversial topic in the African American community, because, like, you can still get a two-step to an R. Kelly song. Like, people love R. Kelly, and then some people revile him and hate him. Is revile the right word? Is that something right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Some people, and where do I fall on that? I fall on the edge of, I don't know. I don't know what really happened. Was he preying on Black women? I believe he was. Is it easy to prey on poor, uneducated Black women who see one of their ways to get out is through entertainment, and he sees that opportunity to coerce women? I think he did. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure. And then all this alleged, I don't know who, allegedly, absolutely, I think that.
Not allegedly, absolutely.
I absolutely think that. But should he be given money to continue to do what he does? Then it asks this question. It's probably unpopular. Where's the accountability for the women, especially when they're an adult? Where's your accountability? Where do you just get, like, hey, because real talk, if my husband was like, hey, I would like to urinate on you tonight, I would like, well, you probably gonna have to find some other wife. Yeah, like, because that's not me. No, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Or, there was reportings that he wouldn't bathe for days and then force, or, and then require intimacy from his harem, and people would get sick from the smell of him.
Oh,
and
life is
like
wild.
all kinds of terrible things. Gotta go read that book. I had to go listen to it. What was it called? Hold on. If I remember it, because I'm taking up too much dang on time. But so I don't think he's a good guy. I don't know how he got on this tangent. He's not a good guy. He did some terrible, terrible stuff. But then, but she wanted it. Like, I know that sounds bad out loud, but there are women who wanted that and would sign up today. If he was free today and he was like, come to me, how many millions, hundreds of thousands of women would show up? Would still be like, I got you. What you need?
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of people in, maximum security prisons who are getting love letters when they have been rapists, murderers, and the list goes on. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and read my last confession here.
Yeah, we went all over the place. Sorry, people. It happens here. Sorry.
Ironically, it's titled "Wearing Diapers to Work." A bit of background. I currently work as a cashier for a well-known pharmacy chain in the U.S. I usually work 7-hour shifts, so I get a 15-minute break during the day. The problem is my boss doesn't allow us bathroom breaks unless we use our 15 minutes. There were days when I'd literally be in pain for holding my pee in for so long because I couldn't use the bathroom. I started wearing the pins to work and they have been a lifesaver. There have been multiple days now where I'll just go right as I'm chatting with a customer. They retain fluids way better than I anticipated and don't give off any smell. Or so I thought. I was in the break room and overheard... I'm sorry. It made me laugh. I'm sorry. Or so I thought. I was in the break room and overheard my coworkers talking about me having a bad smell. By the end of my most recent shift, my boss sent me home to shower. Any suggestions on how to keep the smell less noticeable?
I don't even know where to begin with this one. You just stand at the counter pissing on yourself? That's what you doing. Like, you bid have a great day and somebody told you can't go pee? Let me tell you what. I just pissed on myself the one time. Not what it depends on. No, I'm not. I'm not going to piss on myself. I'm going to the bathroom. He don't like it. Cashier locked up. Go to the bathroom. You don't like it? Deal with it. And in the U.S., you deserve a lunch break after 4 hours. But you going to tell me I can't go pee? You better get somebody up here, Phil. You better get somebody up here. Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to sit and pee in my depends. And then, baby girl, I don't know why I think it's a girl, but I'm going baby girl. Baby girl, you don't think that stinks? You can't smell that? You can't smell that. You sitting here pissing on your pants all fucking day, and you telling me you don't smell that. And then you got sent home for hot. Why are you even telling people this? Why are you you know what? Yep. I don't know if it's a Reaper or Thai chili. I wanted to be a Reaper because I don't need. What the hell is up with all these like violations of Department of Labor? Like I don't understand. I don't understand you people. Like, I know everyone's not me. I need to look through other people's lenses, but I don't have to on my show. You know what I can do on my show? I can be as ignorant as I want to be. And I'm going to ignorantly say, you know what? You take this motherfucking secret to your deathbed because that is some ignorant bullshit. If your dumb ass thought that, hey, paying extra money for Depends, and Depends are not cheap, people. They are not cheap. How do I know? Because pads ain't cheap. Any of those hygiene products, they're not cheap. Diapers are not cheap. So adult diapers, you know, ain't cheap. You would rather spend your hard-earned money making minimum wage at, I'll agree, say at a drugstore.
At a pharmacy store, right.
You shouldn't tell anybody you that stupid. You should not tell anybody. You're not like, okay, hey, here's my job. My job is keeping babies alive, and I just got to diaper up. You know what? I say less, sis. You want a GoFundMe? But motherfucker, you pushing gum. How's it? You need to be able to stand up for yourself and say, I have to use the restroom. And then, listen, be ignorant. Piss on yourself one time. Up, now I got to go home. I can't use the bathroom. Just pretend like you in a pool. I'm sorry.
Shoot.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. My youngest told me when we were on vacation that people pee in the pool, right? I was like, "You not pee in the pool, did you?" He was like, "No, no, no." Then I was like, "I'm peeing right now." He's like, "Mom," I was like, "Just joking, just joking." Please don't nobody isolate that. I was just joking, but yeah, it's a reaper to me because it's like, cause okay, here's how I want you to play this. Let's say you're hanging out with the crew, okay, and we have two people who work retail. And either of these two people within the crew and crew adjacent come up to and say, "Yo, I'm not allowed to take a break anymore," which is really weird because one of them is the boss of the other. But I'm not allowed to take
Right.
a break anymore. So I wear the pins and piss on them, piss at them. Why did you tell us that? You don't want us to be your friends anymore. It is not because you did that. Like I'm not gonna disassociate myself from you. You were going to disassociate yourself from me because the clowning would never end. It would never stop. It would
Never.
it would never could you even if you work from home. So do I. We both have the blessing of working from home. And our
Mm-hmm.
bathrooms are in our homes. But could you imagine if I was like, "You know what? I decided I'm just going to work through. I ain't got time for this. I'm going to work through. And I'm going to piss on myself." We don't know if it's Otis or me. Like I don't. Otis is my dog. We don't know. You can't. Don't tell nobody else that. Oh, that's so embarrassing, though. Could you think about the conversation that had to take place before the supervisor came up and said, "Excuse me, Sally. Can I talk to you over here for a second? We need you to go home and bathe because that depend. You got to change those depends out. Like she just worried to say one every day. Like does she know she got? You know what, Lamar? What would you rate this?
Yo, nah, this is a reaper. I mean, for all the reasons you said, because in my mind, I just have this image of this person working at one of these pharmacy stores, and they're helping like when customers need certain medicines at these stores, they're locked behind a little glass thing. So you got to walk over with this soiled Depends on, and you just thinking you smell fresh, like you don't smell like pee at all. And I mean, I don't know how much you're drinking or what you're drinking, but depending on what you're drinking, it's even going to smell even weirder. So if you're not getting a lot, if you're drinking too much water, it's going to make you pee a lot. You may be your urine's going to be more clear, but it's still urine. Like it's still going to be that. Just to have this person just sloshing around in their own waste, and for other people to smell it because they were like, "Man, it doesn't leave a smell," or so I thought. Like, could you imagine? Like, let's just say Pick Truth Pharmacy exists, right? And we hire somebody new, and we're like, "Hey, there are no breaks unless I'm sorry, there's no bathroom breaks unless you're on your 15 minute." And we're just working through the day, and there's this one person who's going through the pharmacy, and they just smell like straight piss, and they just walking around like nobody can tell that they smell like piss. Like that
So,
that's a
so
problem.
are you saying they're walking around like an extra on an R. Kelly set?
See, this is why episodes end the way they do. This is what happens. Reaper. There we go. Reaper. That's what I got.
I don't know what was for that or for me, but hey, I'll take you whichever way. All right, guys, that does it for this week's episode of Pick True. If you like today's show, help us out and subscribe and send the show to two friends. If you're not done so already, join us in our Facebook group, Pick Truth, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Oh, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcast or wherever you subscribe.
Catch you next time.
Later.